Alright everyone, welcome back to some more of the house in Fata Morgana. I want to thank you all for the love and support you continue to show this series. I really appreciate it. Most importantly guys, we are at a point where we're going to be delving deeper into Mell's story. So, I'm curious to see how this is all going to go, and I hope you all are too. So, without saying much else, let's get to it everyone. Alright, and we're back. But I'm scared. What am I supposed to say to him? I don't know. I'll be there with you. You don't have to face this alone. There's more to this story than we've heard. We don't know how he got himself involved in this, and I mean to get the rest of it out of him. And you need to be there to hear it. If, when I hear what he has to say, I try to say something I shouldn't, if I try to say something that will ruin everything, you'll stop me? You're the one who told me to open my eyes and face him. You're the one who made this whole mess. What am I supposed to do if all this destroys everything I have? You said you'd be my brother, right? So be a good brother and help me out here. Promise me, you'll make sure nothing goes bad. You'll do that, won't you? Mell, just say yes. We won't let this go bad. Have faith in yourself. Faith that you'll put their relationship on track to recovering. Promise her. Give her the courage she wants from you. You have nothing to fear. I'll be there for you. I'll help you both. Okay, I'll do it. I'll go back. Thank you, Giselle. Oh, don't mention it. Now, let's go see what he has to say for himself. Let's draw back that curtain. Yes, let's. Nelly. Mell. What did you come back for? To ridicule me? I'm not the brother you thought I was, huh? Not at all what you wanted me to be. It's all over. Everything Mell said is true. There's a girl in prison in the tower. A completely innocent girl. The girl who saved your life, in fact. Go on. Tell me how cruel and terrible and evil I am. I'm no prince. Here's an idea. Why don't you make him your new prince? You can do it, Nelly. Ask him. You have your reasons, don't you? You have some reason for being a part of this, right? A reason? Ah, yeah. I have a reason, alright. I wanted to save your life. I needed her blood to cure you, so I had her locked up. Tell me the truth. I don't remember much about when the Saintess came to visit, but I do remember a little. I remember her saying she would gladly give whatever she could to the sick and needy, which means you had no need to lock her up. It would seem the tale Morgana showed me was true. She really was a saint. Yes, she was. Tell me the truth, Mell. Tell me everything. There's nothing to tell. There is. I know it. There's more to a story than just the facts. The things you thought, the things you felt, are all pieces that combine to make the whole story. Isn't that right, Mell? You're exactly right. If you hadn't said anything, we could have gone on with our lives as normal. No, Mell, we couldn't have. I thought so too at first, but it's not true. Our normal lives ended long ago. Tell me the truth, Mell. No matter what it is, I can handle it. No, Nelly, you can't. A girl like you who dreams of becoming a princess couldn't possibly bear to see how hideous her brother has become. How can I know if you don't say anything, though? That's how it's always been with us. You were nice to me, and that was all I needed. I never looked beyond the surface. I made you into my ideal brother, and I latched onto that image of you. You're a kind person, Mel, you really are. So kind you played along with my fantasy that you were a prince. But you don't have to act for me anymore. I want to know the real you. I'm all done being a princess. I'm just your little sister now, nothing more. Your one and only little sister, Mel. You need to do this, Mel. You need to tell your story. Until you do, we have no way of understanding what you've been through, what you're going through. No way. If I tell you, you'll lose any hope you had left in me. As Nellie has, you need to release yourself from your own idealized fantasy, Mel. You have someone right here who will accept you for who you are. I know good and well just how hard it can be to have someone dear to you see a side of you that you didn't want to show them. I think you want to get it off your chest, though. And I think you want forgiveness. Fantasies are not everlasting. They all crumble eventually. Show us the real Mel. Tell us your story, without embellishments or omissions. Mel. Oh. Okay. I'll tell you. Not like I have any other options. Nellie, if at any point you can't bear to hear any more, so be it. You're free to leave whenever you like. I won't go anywhere. I can almost guarantee you. I pray that ends up being true. Alright, here goes. The whole story, from start to finish, of how I ended up in this mess. Storyception. Here we go again. Until around the time I turned 17, my life was mostly uneventful. On days when it was nice out, I would take walks around the house's grounds, sometimes napping beneath a tree. It was picturesque. And you were always there with me. You have the same flax-colored hair as me, but your always seemed to glisten in the sun, whereas mine is flat and dull. You shone like a tiny little dancing sun. At the time, I assumed that was how life would always be. I genuinely wanted it to be. Following my 17th birthday, though, I was met with a deluge of changes. First, Father fell ill, and passed away shortly thereafter. With his death came the question of who would be the next head. As the eldest son, normally it would fall on me to take his place. I was 17, by all means enough of an adult to handle things myself. Or, well, that's what I thought anyway. Nobody else did, though. After discussions I had no part in, it was decided that my uncle would be the next head. That they weren't confident I had the spine to do the job properly. I wasn't sure what to think. Part of me wanted to know why nobody bothered talking to me, and part of me was relieved. Somewhere inside, I knew I didn't have what it took, so I was more than happy to let someone else take that responsibility. If it meant I could go on with my quiet life, I didn't care who they picked. My uncle, though, seemed to have caught on to my apathy, which he did not take kindly to, and in response, he formally disowned me. You're not the only one who still had some growing up to do, Nellie. I wasn't quite the adult I thought I was either. Fortunately, if you want to call it fortune, I was given enough money to live on for a decent length of time, as well as a place to stay. It was a small house far from home, his way of making it hard for me to come back. Not that I had any intention of returning. But the best thing to come out of it all was you coming with me, Nellie. So this is our new home, dearest Mel? Yep, so it is. It's amazing how little there is. No big yard, no paintings, no vases filled with colorful flowers, no silver bowls full of fresh picked fruit. But there is you and me. You're not gonna go and say you want to return home in a couple of months when you realize life isn't as luxurious here as it was back there, are you? There's only one thing in the whole wide world I really need. Oh? Honestly, I can live without shiny shoes and pretty dresses like Mother wears. I don't need composers to come and write me songs for my birthday. As long as I have the one thing that matters most to me, I can do without anything else. Are you saying... I'm as happy as I've ever been. I don't need all that fancy expensive stuff. We may not have a huge yard, but the sun shines everywhere. Flowers can grow even without a gardener tending to them. Nelly. I'll do whatever I can for you, dearest Mell. Are you hungry? I'm hungry. Oh, yeah. A bit. Alright, I'll make something then. Start off with some fruit jam, then maybe make a pie out of it. What else sounds good? I'm craving cookies. You've got quite the sweet tooth. You're gonna make yourself sick like that. That's the first smile I've seen since we got here. What? That can't be right. I'm sure I've been smiling. Nope. You've been frowning all day. Whatever you say. Forget about all that stuff at home. We've got each other. We can do this. Who cares that we're not rich anymore? We'll figure things out in no time. And then we'll have even more fun than we did back there. Yeah. You're right. It'll all work out, dearest Mell. I'll always be here for you. You've got yourself an adorable little princess. What more could you possibly need? Cheer up. Thanks. I'm really glad you decided to come with me. Oh ho ho, did you think for a second I wouldn't? I'm your princess, dearest Mell. And princesses belong with their princes. I suppose so. Until that day, I had never known how good it felt to have someone who wanted me in their life, who saw me for me. I realized for the first time how blessed I had always been. I was hardly prince material. I wasn't strong or handsome or regal enough for that. But Nelly calling me her prince gave me the illusion of being worth something. It made me feel like I could keep on being that richly blessed young man, even this far away from home. While I had been given some money, my supply was far from infinite. I knew I would eventually have to find some kind of work, some way to support myself and Nelly. But to be quite honest, I couldn't gather the motivation to do much of anything. My whole life had changed so abruptly, so dramatically, that my mind just wasn't able to keep up. It had knocked me on my backside and I didn't have the strength to get back up. I couldn't tell Nelly that, of course, so this is what I said instead. I'm staying home because I want to be with you as much as possible. And she happily took me at my word. Our new life together was quiet and unremarkable. Even so, it was still a constant stream of new experiences for the two of us, having been pampered our entire lives. Welcome home, dearest Mell. What did you buy today? I got a chicken. Wow, I've never seen one so up close before. Are we going to keep it as a pet? I was planning on using it for supper. What? You're going to cook it? That's the idea. You like chicken though, don't you? Steamed especially, if I remember right. Yes, but it's all covered in feathers and flapping about. How are we supposed to cook it? If I remember, the guy said you have to pluck its feathers, then cut off its head and drain all the blood. Ew, no, wait, absolutely not. Not in a million years. You do it, Mell. What? I've never done this before. Well, I'm not, so you do it. Alright. I'll bring it to the... Not inside, do it outside. Okay. I've never had to slaughter a chicken before. The chefs back home always took care of it. God, I hope I don't screw things up. Well, I'm not going to accomplish anything if I just sit here worrying. I just gotta give it my best shot. Please, oh please don't put up a fight. I can't watch. On a count of 3, okay? The count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wait. Come back. It's gone. At first, I was just fumbling about in the dark, constantly messing up everything I tried. But in time, I started getting more comfortable with things and I stopped pining for my old life. For the longest time, I couldn't shake the memory of the fact that I had once been a noble. I was constantly wondering how I had ended up there, why this was happening to me. Nellie had seemed to have adjusted fairly quickly, but I wasn't faring so well. I was surprised, honestly. I figured if anyone was going to have an issue with our new lifestyle, it was going to be her, not me. Back home, Nellie had tended to be, well, a bit of a princess. She was frequently harsh with the Abigail, scolding them for the smallest of things. There were times I thought she might be biting her tongue for my sake, but every time it crossed my mind, she would say, "I've got you, dearest Mel. Everything's just fine." And it was those words that kept me going. "Oh, dearest Mel, I just had the most wonderful idea. Would you like to hear it?" "Sure. What's your idea?" "We should get married." "What? You can't be serious." As serious gets. I mean, we're basically married already in everything but name." "But we can't do that. We're siblings." "Nobody here needs to know that." "They can guess from our hair and eye color, though." "I don't think we look that much alike." "Anyway, whatever gave you that idea? If we get married, then we can be together forever." "We can do that just as well as brother and sister." "It's not the same, though. No one ever says two siblings lived happily ever after." "I want to be with you for the rest of my life, dearest Mel, and the best way to do that is to get married." "But Nellie, what are you so hesitant for? Is there someone you pine for?" No, but..." "Then there's no problem. We're blood-related siblings." Does she realize that getting married means eventually having children, and everything that leads up to that? That goes against the teachings of the Lord. No, she's still just a kid chasing after a fairy tale ending. She doesn't understand the reality of what she's saying. Sometimes I'm not sure what to do with you, Nellie. "So you'll marry me?" "But right now, I know you need God's word. Starting tonight, you're getting your own private sermon every night, understand?" Blah! My instruction was as much for my own sake as it was for Nellie's. I'm not gonna lie, the thought did cross my mind after that her proposition might not be so bad. For one, I couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life with anyone else, and it had been her smile that had kept me going when things got difficult. But I knew that it was a sin, and I didn't think I would be able to live with myself if I crossed that line. So night after night I taught her, reminded her that we were brother and sister, and that we didn't have to be anything more for her to be the most important person in the world to me. And after about our third month away from home, that life began crumbling. Nellie woke up one day with a high fever that refused to break. At first, I thought it was just a cold and that she'd be over it soon enough. But as much as I tried to convince myself, oh, she'll be better tomorrow, she just kept getting worse until eventually, she couldn't even get out of bed. She had visibly lost weight, and I had never heard her voice so weak and lethargic before. "Is there anything you'll like me to get you, Nellie?" "All I want is you to be here with me, dearest Mel." "You really should eat something. I'll make something you like. How about a nice expensive chicken? The last one got away, but I won't let that happen this time." "I'm not really in the mood for anything too heavy." "Oh, okay." "Don't you worry, Mel. I'll be better before you know it." Yeah, you will. You'll be just fine. Everything's gonna be back to normal soon." "Mm-hmm." Watching Nellie grow weaker every day scared the hell out of me. I desperately did not want to lose her. If I lost her, then who would be left that wanted me? Who would tell me I was worth something? Who would say nice things about me? Who would be there with me every day? Just when I had started to feel optimistic about this new life, started to feel comfortable in it, it was looking like it might fall apart again. I searched everywhere for some medicine that could cure her. Healthy foods, fruits, and vegetables with supposed medicinal properties. Anything I could get my hands on. I prayed. And Nellie, you were overjoyed. You were thrilled I would go to such lengths for you. But the reality is, I was really doing it for myself. But as much as I searched, I couldn't find anything that worked, and I started to panic. I would go to bed at night, afraid I'd wake up the next morning, and Nellie wouldn't. I was already grasping at straws, and I was ready to try anything that had even the slightest chance of curing her. And then one day, I heard whispers. Whispers of a witch who lived by the lake. They said she was a recluse, that she hardly ever left her house, and that she hadn't been down to the city in years. They told me she might have some medicinal herbs that could help, so I rushed down to the lake to see her. Sitting by the shore was a small cottage, even less luxurious than where Nellie and I were living at the time. Seeing the thin trails of smoke rising from the chimney, I was convinced the rumors were true. A witch lived in that house. I wasn't sure what to expect. Being a recluse, I figured she wasn't going to be very sociable at least. To tell you the truth, I was kind of scared to knock on her door. But I had exhausted all of my other options, so I clenched my teeth and I gave the door 2 firm raps. "Who's there?" The sound of her voice caught me off guard, and all I could do was stare at the door with a knot in my throat. Based on the information, I had assumed I was going to find a wrinkly old woman, but that was the voice of a young girl. And even though she had only said 2 words, there was something indescribably enchanting about that voice. I could listen to her talk for hours on end in some kind of strange hypnotic trance. It was almost like magic, for lack of a better word. I stood there dumbfounded, like my soul had been sucked from my body. "Who's there?" She repeated her question, which brought me back to reality. I still had to fight to maintain my wits enough to respond coherently. "My sister has fallen very ill and she desperately needs medicine. I was told that the person who lives here is a skilled herbalist. Could I please get something to treat her?" "What are her symptoms?" She's got extremely high fever that won't come down. She has no appetite, she's only drinking water, and she can't get out of bed. We're going to want to lower her fever first. After that, get her on a nutritious diet. I'm going to give you 2 medications. Give her the first while her fever is high, and the second after it's come down." Thank you very much." Her voice wasn't bright and energetic like Nellie's. It was more restrained, somber, and quiet, yet simultaneously clear and sharp. The sound tickled my curiosity. I wanted to know what she looked like. I wanted to know what kind of girl stood on the other side of that door. With a voice that pretty, she must be equally lovely, I thought. And I had to see it for myself. And my wish didn't fall on deaf ears when she opened the door to hand me the herbal medicine and take my money. Her head peeked out between the crack ever so slightly. "I said I would tell you everything, exactly as it happened, so I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It was unsettling. It was nothing like I had imagined from her voice. Her skin had, I guess, fallen off or something because you could see the raw red flesh beneath. To say it was hard to look at would be an understatement. Most of her face was covered by a black hood, so all I could see was her mouth and chin, but even that much was harrowing. But the last thing I wanted to do was look away. For all I knew, that was why she had become a recluse. And I couldn't let myself hurt her, so I suppressed my own disgust and put on my best smile. People often tell me I have a very pleasant, amiable smile. So I figured I could use that to prevent her from picking up on what was actually going through my mind. And when she saw my face, a look of surprise seemed to cross hers. The witch's herbs did indeed seem to help some. Going to visit her was better than talking to any of the local doctors. Nonetheless, Nellie hadn't been cured. She was only feeling a little bit better. So I kept paying the witch visits, kept purchasing more herbs from her, and every time I went to that cottage and heard her sweet voice, I imagined how much sweeter it would sound without a door obstructing it. Even knowing what she looked like didn't stop the curiosity from growing within me. From what I gathered talking to her, there wasn't much of an age difference between us either. She was 16 and I was 17. And I'm sure you know how it is. When you meet someone around your age, you feel a sort of sense of kinship. This girl I had originally believed to be some kind of otherworldly witch was starting to feel like a regular person like me. Through our conversations, I managed to learn her name, as well as the fact that she had come here from a faraway country. We were both a long way from home. Thinking she might open up even more to someone who'd been through a similar experience, I decided to try inviting her to go on a walk with me. It's not healthy to stay holed up inside all the time. You've got this beautiful lake right here. What do you say we take a little walk around the shoreline? To my surprise, she accepted. Great weather, isn't it? I love the way the sun reflects off the surface of the lake. It's gorgeous. Are you okay? I'm in disbelief, to tell you the truth. Huh? What for? You've seen my face, you know how hideous I am, and still you invited me on a walk. You're a very peculiar person. Is it really that strange? I mean, we're almost the same age, so I figured we might make pretty good friends. You want to make friends? With me? Well, sure, we've been through a lot of the same things, so we can understand each other better than most. Understand each other? Yeah, we're both young, but we've been through some rough times. I'm gonna be blunt with you. You have not been through anything like I have. What? No. If you had experienced the things I have, you wouldn't be smiling right now. I haven't known you long, but I don't need to have in order to know how unequivocally dissimilar we are. That we were cut from a very different cloth. Well, yeah, we're people. We're not made of cloth, so that's not what that means, you know. Oh. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so harsh. In fact, I would say you're much better off not being in my position. It sounds like you've been through a lot. If you don't mind me asking, what happened to you? I'd be happy to lend an ear. It might make you feel better to get it off your chest. And that is what's so different about us. Huh? I will not tell you about myself, no. That said, I do appreciate the concern. Thank you. Oh, sure, you're welcome. She's not very open with people, huh? You can't really blame her either, dude. You have not seen what she's been through. Though I guess that's only to be expected. She hasn't spent much time around other people looking the way she does. I wonder if there's anything I can do for her. At least get her to show a little bit of emotion. Say, if it's not too much to ask, you think we could maybe do this again sometime? Don't expect me to lower my prices. I'm not trying to squeeze a better deal out of you. I just want to get to know you better. Nothing more to it. No ulterior motives, I promise. Did you forget I've already said I won't be telling you about myself? Alright, then it doesn't have to be about you. We can talk about anything, whatever you want. Do you have a favorite food? Any hobbies? Nothing in particular. Well, that was a fruitful conversation. Okay, crap. I have no interest or taste worth mentioning, so if you want to talk, I suppose that leaves you to be the subject. Me? Tell me about yourself. My life's not all that exciting. Anything I had to tell you would probably just bore you. I'm not looking for excitement. Oh, okay. Well, alright then. I guess I can tell you about myself. And so I did. I told her about my family situation, and I told her about Nelly, and that was pretty much all I had to talk about. For the most part, she hardly even reacted to anything I said, so it was difficult to tell if she was listening or not. But she would urge me to continue whenever I'd go quiet for more than a few moments, so I suppose she was listening. Every time I came to purchase more medicine, we would go on a walk around the lake together. A single loop around the shoreline didn't give us much time to talk, but my attempts to reduce our walking pace or stop to extend our time together were flatly ignored. And she refused to go around more than once, claiming it would disturb her daily rhythm. That said, she never refused an invitation either, so I don't think she particularly disliked me. Yet, anyway. Oh, a robin. Oh, messed up, hold on, go backlog. What does a robin have to do with your sister? Nothing, I just saw one over there. If you listen, you can hear it singing. They migrate somewhere warmer when it gets cold. They just fly off to someplace more comfortable. If I had wings like a bird, maybe I could be free too. There is not a single creature living in this world that is free. What? Birds regularly get shot down by hunters or preyed on by larger birds. The idea that they are free is nothing more than man's short-sighted delusion. Sorry? I guess? No, I should be apologizing. I wasn't trying to attack you. I simply lack the ability to properly empathize with others. I do not understand people. So please, if I say anything that upsets you or makes you uncomfortable, don't assume that was my intention. Sure. Maybe you're hiding it, or maybe you just don't know it yet, but I think you've got more empathy than you're letting on. Surely you can't say nothing affects you at all. You are human. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. I am very surprised that we're we're getting even more story than I thought possible. Because honestly, we already got sent back into Morgana's time before she got executed, and I thought that's where the finale was going to take place. But instead, for once again being storyceptionalized, that's not really a word, but I'm going with it anyway because we're now in a story in another story. So I guess we're going to see what happens from Mel's point of view in regards to how he ended up betraying Morgana over here. So we'll find out more in the next one, guys. Thank you all for watching.